Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. As most of you guys know, I just got back from a 2-week trip to Korea not too long ago, and I wanted to kind of talk about my experience in Korea, mainly because the thing that struck me about Korea more than anything else was how amazing their infrastructure, especially their transit infrastructure, is. Um, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I'm not a fan of cars, which is weird in that I run a presumably a car enthusiast channel, with Aptera being a car. I mean, most people say it's not a car because it's legally an autocycle, but basically it's a vehicle. But I think that walking or cycling or public transit is far and away the best way to move around. But in America, that's the infrastructure is so woefully lacking that a car becomes a necessary evil. And if I'm going to have a car, the Aptera is the least bad car that you can drive. So that's why I'm a big fan of Aptera, because if you need to have a car, Aptera is definitely the car that I would want. But going to Korea, you realize that with good infrastructure, cars are so unnecessary. I never needed a car the whole time I was there. There's these things called T-money cards that work everywhere in the entire country. They are you just load them up with cash, and they work on buses, subways, and they not only work in Seoul, which is the main city, but in every other major city in the country. They and also in the island of Jeju, which is like their version of Hawaii. And the subway system in Korea. So for a little background, Seoul is the fourth largest metropolitan area in the world. It's first is Tokyo, then Jakarta, then this place in China, and then Seoul at 26 million people, which is far bigger than any cities or metropolitan areas in the U.S. Um, so they have to transport their subway system, which is widely considered by many to be the best subway system in the world. So, like, this is one from Essential Living. They ranked the best subway systems in 2023. And if you look at that, they say our number one subways metro overall, the Seoul subway system in South Korea topped the list. And then if you look at Jalopnik put this out in 2012, where they said where they were ranking the subway systems in the world. And they said Tokyo is number two. Subway system is a pristine and orderly masterpiece. No one is allowed to eat anywhere or talk on their phones, and the trains are punctual to the second. It makes the metro in New York City look like smelly shitholes. Okay, then number one, if you thought Seoul had a picture of perfection subway, wait until you ride the Seoul Underground. You have the same cleanliness and composure as well as the totally comprehensive coverage that's surprisingly intuitive. You'll figure out the whole thing in a week. The entire edge of the trail in many stations, and now it's all stations, are walled up with glass so no one can fall in. Makes the whole thing feel like it's more from the future. Um, so let's see here. Yeah, you can see this is, and actually there is a railway station that goes from Incheon Airport to downtown Seoul, which is about 30 miles away. And this rail system handles about 100 million passengers per year. And Incheon has about 80 million passengers per year. It connects Incheon with Gimpo, which is their older airport, which has, I think, a little bit about half the ridership, airline passengers. So a large proportion of the airport traffic goes through the railway. And the railway will take you from downtown Seoul to basically inside the terminal for about $2.50. And I live in near LA, so I have to fly out of LAX quite a bit. And anyone who's been to LAX knows what a traffic nightmare that airport is. Both Incheon and LAX handle about 80 million passengers a year. And there is essentially no traffic going through Incheon because most of the people are using the rail system to get in and out of there. And that makes everything just much better. It's faster, it's it's cheaper, it's cleaner, there's less traffic. And you see here there's walls. And so you can't fall into the subway station. It's all walled off with glass. People pull up, it opens, you walk in, it's clean, they have heated seats. The map system is very, very intuitive. They call out the subway stations in Korean, Mandarin, Japanese, and English. So it's very convenient for foreign visitors. As you can see, the subway systems are extremely clean. There's no like smell of urine, or they even have like art installations in a lot of them, and there's entire uh, shopping malls that are directly connected underground in them. So for many reasons, it's a really amazing subway system, and it's cheap. It's like less than $1 per ride, um, and so it's considered by many to be uh, one of the best transit systems in the world. This is a archive from governing.com, and they talk about, and this is something I didn't realize until I came back and researched this. I also assumed this. Given how smoothly the system runs, it would be natural to conclude that it's a product of a streamlined hierarchical government. I actually thought that's what was going on, is that the government had put together this amazingly integrated transit system that, the entire country accepts one card. They have an integrated fare system. This would be like we have a transit card and it works in like Chicago, LA, New York City, Washington, D.C., Boston, just everywhere. And everyone has pretty much the same fare system. And it worked across the bus system and the rail system. And so I thought it was all done by the government, but that's not the case. Two private for-profit companies and two nonprofit state companies run most of the subway lines, and then hundreds of different private for-profit operators run the bus lines. But the bus lines are all like integrated with the subways and with each other, and it just runs like me as a rider. I didn't know. Now, I know that probably Korea has a bunch of problems that people who live there could tell me about, but just as a visitor, their transit system was absolutely amazing. The other thing that's amazing is internet in Korea is ridiculously fast. The public internet they have, Wi-Fi they have in just random streets throughout Seoul, and you can find free internet pretty much everywhere, is faster than the Fios that I have at home, and they have gigabit internet for $20 a month in Korea. And most people, I think a majority of the people in Seoul have gigabit internet at home, which is, kind of crazy. And then, of course, their 5G coverage is in the subways. It's like everyone is on their phone streaming their favorite shows. But I have to say, the single most impressive thing I found out about Korea was this project that they had. There's this project called the Cheonggyecheon stream, and it it used to look like this until about 2003 or 2004. It used to be this 12-lane road with an elevated road in the middle, and this was actually a paved over stream, and now it looks like this. Um, what was happening was, so here's a little history of it. There This stream was the drainage system for most of the Seoul area, dating back to, this is a picture from like, I think 600 AD. So it's a very well-known stream, and there were little small bridges built over it. And in the early 20th century, it looked like this. It's kind of a seasonal stream. In the rainy season, it floods quite a bit, and people were doing laundry in there and things like that. And then eventually, it kind of became a slum area, and be, and during the Japanese occupation, just raw sewage was dumped into here. It was, causing a lot of disease. It was not good. So basically, they decided that they were just going to pave over it. So here's the slums, and then they were going to just pave over it, and they did. They just paved over it, and then eventually they turned it into this highway system, and this is what it looked like in the 90s. So the stream was running under these supports, and the stream was dry for some of the year and kind of flooded out in the others. But this road handled about 180,000 cars per day. And then the mayor of Seoul in the late 90s, early 2000s decided that they needed to rip this out, and people threw a fit. You can imagine, in America, if a mayor said, "We're going to take out the main highway that runs through the center of the city, that handles 180,000 cars per day, that we want to take that out." All the businesses were like, "It's going to cause a nightmare. We're going to lose businesses. There would be no traffic through here, and no way to access our businesses. The traffic will be a nightmare because people will try to use other surface streets." And so there was a lot of pushback about that, but they pushed it through. And now if you look at it, they basically had a lot of good things that happened after they pushed that project through. And they have a 200-year flood event. It can handle a 200-year flood event because they dredged it out and lined it. And biodiversity has gone up like over 600%. Urban heat island, small particle pollution has decreased by 35%. And there's an increase in bus ridership and subway ridership. This is just until 2008, and it's increased way more than that. Attracts about 64,000 visitors per day, and many of them are foreign tourists. And then the property values and the business valuations have gone up quite a bit because I mean, if you look at this is what it looks like now. It's just a very inviting place to be, and people spend time here, and it's they do a lot of cultural events. Like last time I went to Korea, they were having this lantern festival through the stream, and these are the headwaters near the Gyeongbokgung Palace. Um, and yeah, it's a much nicer place to be, and it shows that shifting the infrastructure away from cars is in most cases a good thing, and it increases. It just makes life better for everyone, and I'm hoping. It was very hopeful to see this kind of infrastructure change happen in a major city, and it would be great if stuff like this happened in America as well, where you take out car infrastructure and put in people infrastructure, and then you can move over to having really good public transit systems, cycling and walking along these areas, and it's just a model that I think a lot of cities in the world should follow. But anyways, that's the thing that I found most amazing about Korea was the infrastructure and their drive to take out car infrastructure and put in people infrastructure. Their internet speed was amazing. And the last thing I really loved about Korea was the no tipping. The tipping culture in America is completely out of control, I think. Uh, and it was so nice to go to restaurants, and the prices in the restaurants include the tax. So when they say it's $10, it's $10. There's no tip. There's and I got the best service ever. Like if you've gone to Japan or if you've gone to Korea, you know that there's no tipping in either one of those countries, and you won't get better service at the hotels than you do in Japan or Korea. And service in restaurants is different. They don't try to cater you. They just like bring you the food, and that's it. But it's very fast. It's very efficient, and not having to think about tips and adding that on was just amazing. Okay. Um, Let me know what you guys think about this. Did you know this about this project? If you did, let me know in the comments. And what's your opinion about cars and public transit? I'm guessing most of you guys think similar to me, and that's why you're interested in Aptera. But I know there's a bunch of reasons to like Aptera other than being kind of anti-car infrastructure as I am. Um, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.